everyone, welcome to Emma. I'm Vick Hope and I matriculated at Emma in 2007 to read modern languages.
And I'm Bobby Seagull and I came up to Emma in 2015 as a postgrad in maths education. We're really excited to be here today hosting what will be a very special and long-awaited launch event for Emma Enables.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be with you today to share such an important moment in Emma's history. It's fantastic to have so many of you tuning in from around the world, so thank you for joining us.
And to kick things off, we have a very special video for you. And Dame Fiona will be telling us more about Emma Enables. See you shortly.
Living and working in beautiful surroundings and just feeling really awe-inspired every day. And that really broadened my outlook massively.
For an incredibly long period of time, young people have arrived at the doors of this place. It's something quite special.
I came up to Emma as a raw schoolboy in 1948. I think when I was at Emmanuel, I realized the value of friendship. I made great friends at Emma. I've had friends throughout life.
When I left Emma, I think I left with a stronger level of confidence and clarity that I wanted to do things that I thought mattered. My job is to make the connection between better growing and better markets. Circular systems is all about making sure that we put as much into the soil as we take from it, and that our time frames move from short-term extraction to long-term health.
I was fortunate enough to be a pioneer. I was the first female helicopter pilot in the British military, and I was the first female squadron commander in the British military. Values that come from Emmanuel are values that I've taken on into my life.
We have to think holistically about the challenges that we face. As a practicing doctor, I've been able to have a meaningful impact in the field of marine conservation. Improving the health of coastal communities better enables them to engage in rebuilding fisheries and helping marine biodiversity to recover.
I still get that really special feeling when I walk through and into Front Court. It's a place that you will always feel that you belong to.
I'm so grateful because it has been the most wonderful opportunity which the college gave me. It was so enriching.
I was enabled to think when I was at Emmanuel and learned very clearly that we live in a world of infinite possibilities.
Hello everyone, it's wonderful to be here and to know that Emma members are joining us from all across the world. Now we'd love to know where you're from, so if you can find the poll function next to the video on your screen and type in where you are, we'll know where everyone's watching from. We've just seen a beautiful video which I hope captures the essence of Emma for you. It certainly does for me. Remember the words at the end? Emma enables the most talented people to make great contributions to the world around us. The handful of people we saw on the video were doing just that. But of course there are thousands of you out there, all making a difference, whether as doctors or lawyers, teachers or entrepreneurs, in your careers, voluntary work or family life. And that's what Emma does. For centuries, we've enabled our students to go out into the world using the education and skills they've acquired here to make a positive difference. So in crafting the Emma Enables project, we've asked a very simple question. What does the world need from us today? For we can't stand still. The beautiful new spaces we're creating, and you'll see them later, will enable us to bring two long-held ambitions to fruition. First, enabling our intellectual community to realise its full potential by ensuring the brightest students can come to Emma regardless of their financial circumstances, and by welcoming up to 100 postdoctoral researchers into our vibrant interdisciplinary community. And second, enabling our college community to flourish and be ready to meet the demands of modern life. In future, all undergraduates will have the opportunity to live in college for 3 years. We're removing the barriers to participation, and we're establishing a new programme of opportunities called Emma Experience, which will enable everyone to acquire the skills they need to thrive in college and life beyond through workshops, talks and activities. You'll see and hear a lot more about all of this today. It's lovely to be gathering Emma members from all over the world to celebrate the launch of this project. Later, I'll be having a conversation with the Master-elect, Doug Chalmers, talking about some of the topics you've discussed. I look forward to seeing you again then.
Thanks so much, Dame Fiona, for that. Wow, well, I don't know about you, Vic, but I'm feeling really excited, not just for today's event, but for the future of Emma too, after hearing all of that.
Yeah, me too. We have got such an exciting lineup for you over the next hour or so. We're going to be delving into each of those 4 areas of Emma Enables, as well as hearing from a graduate student about research which could help cure diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We'll be exploring the new building site, and later we'll have a very special chat with Dame Fiona and our soon-to-be master, Doug Chalmers. We'll round everything up with a final toast, so do have your drinks ready for that. Remember, in your celebration packs, you've got a recipe for an Emma-themed mocktail that you might want to whip up. If you don't have a celebration pack, don't worry, there is a link to the recipe below the video player.
We'll also be catching up with some of you at home. And as well as taking a closer look at the campaign, some familiar faces will be announcing the winners of our 3 Emma Awards for Impact, Innovation and Inspiration, as nominated and voted for by you.
Plus, we have got a challenge for you today. So throughout the event, you'll spot some sneakily placed ducks. Make sure you keep count of them, because anyone who gets the correct number at the end will be in with a chance of winning a prize. Now, these ducks, they might be real, they might be rubber, they might be animated, so keep your eyes peeled from this point onwards.
And while we can't be together in person today, we'd still love you to get involved, share your stories and interact with us and with each other. You can do this by using the Q&A function, which you'll find on your screen next to the video player, though you might have to come out of full screen view to see it.
And you've already been telling us via the poll function where you're joining us from today. Shall we take a look at who's here? So a lot in Cambridge.
Number 1.
And in London, but look, all over the world. So the size of the name of the place, it tells us how many people are there.
It reflects. So we've got Australia's quite large, we've got Singapore, we've got
Melbourne. It's changed again. It's changed. People are logging on. Not in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong,
France, Australia.
Bath, Somerset's popular.
Yeah.
Laptop and home.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
So without further ado, let's dive right into the first theme of Emma Enables, which is student support and access. This is an area some of you might already be quite familiar with.
Yeah, take a moment at home now to just think about how you came to Emma. What encouraged you to apply? How did you feel when you were accepted? What was your first day like?
We'd love to hear your story, so please do share them via the Q&A function.
Bobby, do you want to kick us off?
So actually, I was doing my PGC maths teacher training at the Grad College Hughes Hall. And in 2014 Christmas, I came for a formal at Emma. And I sat next to a man called Alexander Gutenplan.
An absolute icon.
University challenger.
Yeah,
and
a hero.
I've been a fan of the show, and I thought, I'm going to apply to this college. Everyone's super friendly. So I thought, this is the place for me. So how about you?
I was going to say the rest is history. Your own university challenge, heroics were exhibited. I didn't actually come up. I went down. So I'm from Newcastle in the north. And Yeah, I remember I went to an open day. I came down to Emma and I just couldn't believe how warm and welcoming it was. It was beautiful. The ducks were out. It was really, really sunny. And I thought, I think that this might be for me. And it meant the world to get accepted. I remember that day, my mum and dad driving me down from Newcastle and arriving and just feeling that magic. And I did feel, I was like, I'm at home now. And I remember my mum saying, yeah, I'm really happy to leave you here. You're going to be all right. And I was. I just loved it. I got a real sense of that feeling you get in your stomach when I arrived back again yesterday.
Yeah, it's like a magical place to be.
It is.
So now we're going to see a short animation highlighting the importance of student support and access work, followed by an insight into graduate student and MCR committee member Petra's research. Plus, I'll be heading to front court to find out the winner of the first Emma Award. See you there shortly.
I'm Petra. I'm a fourth-year PhD student at Emmanuel College, and I do my research at MRC Mitochondrial Biology Unit. So I'm originally from Slovakia, and that's where I did my high school studies. I first did the half-a-year internship in Cambridge. During this time, I secured a PhD at MRC MBU and became a member of Emmanuel. So depending how much biology you can remember from school, you might know some of this already, but I'll help jog your memory. All eukaryotes, which include all the large organisms you might think of, have cells that contain a nucleus and other microscopic structures called organelles. Mitochondria are one of these organelles inside almost all eukaryotic cells. In humans, they are maternally inherited. Their main role is the production of cellular energy, which is stored in a compound called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. The most widely accepted theory of the origins of mitochondria is that bacteria became endosymbionts living within the cells of other organisms, which over time evolved into the mitochondria we have today. While most people think of the DNA we have in our cells existing in the nucleus, which is where most of it is, mitochondria also have their own DNA. Something needs to happen with this information, and for that it's the process called gene expression, which is transcribing RNA from DNA and then translating proteins from this RNA, and then the proteins perform all the functions within the cell. This is what mitochondrial genetics studies, and this is my field of research. In doing research, it's important to find your motivation and know kind of what drives you, especially in the situations when things don't work out. And in my case, it's curiosity. I'm really eager to learn about how things work and kind of broaden our knowledge of cell biology. There are around 20,000 genes encoded in human DNA in the nucleus. Human mitochondria DNA contains only 13 protein-coding genes. Although this number might seem small, each one of these proteins is crucial for proper function of mitochondria and therefore securing enough energy for the cell and the organism. The method we use for investigating the roles of specific genes is to turn them off, which is called producing a knockout. Then study what happens with the cell physiology or look at the molecular changes afterwards. A knockout of a particular gene might produce a change in the growth rate of the cell or make it dependent on certain nutrients, for example. This helps us to pinpoint the function of different genes. On a molecular level, we can assess whether cells are still able to synthesize mitochondrial proteins. We can look at overall changes in levels of all other proteins in the knockout cell line. By observing these changes in the cell functions, we can pinpoint the process in which the gene of interest is involved, as well as better understand the process itself. Proper function of mitochondria is very important for the cell to be able to survive. Mitochondrial diseases is a very broad range of diseases. They tend to affect mostly tissues that are very energy demanding, such as neurons or muscles. But they've been also implicated as a factor in human diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or type 2 diabetes. At the moment, there are no cures for mitochondrial dysfunction. Knowing what is going on, I think this is kind of the first step towards the ultimate goal to find the cures. We can verify whether the variant of a gene that's identified in a patient is consistent with what we see in a knockout cell line, for example. I think it's really interesting when you're doing these experiments that maybe don't seem to be too much related or seem to be a set of individual results, but then you kind of look into that from a different angle or do this one other experiment that kind of suddenly everything makes sense and it comes together, and it's about being able to understand what your results mean is the bit that's really rewarding.
I think we can all agree that the potential impact of research like Petra's is remarkable, and one of the key reasons why it's important to ensure that finances do not prevent students like Petra from taking up their places. Speaking of impact, that is indeed the theme of the first Emma Award. I'm here with Charlotte and 𝘰𝘮𝘮𝘢, President and Vice President of EXU. What's all this behind us?
Well, Bobby, these are the undergraduate pigeonholes moved here this year as a result of COVID.
Yeah, they used to be over there in next to the Porter's Lodge, but they had to be moved outside because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh, that makes sense. I missed the ones inside, though. Some members have been voting for the Emma Impact Award, which celebrates members who've made a real impact on the Emma community and college life. So, Charlotte, could you please announce the winner?
Absolutely. They were a number of fantastic nominees, from Emma Sporting Heroes to EXU and MCR committee members who've made a real difference here during their time, and even Dame Fiona's cat Miranda made the list. But it's time to announce the winner. The winners are Alan Baker and Michelle Still.
So Alan Baker was Emma's first ever fellow in geography and senior tutor from 1976 to 1986. So during the years that women first came to the college. Later, he was Vice Master from 1990 to 1994. He gave a talk on Zoom last March about his research into 19th century Paris, and many of his former pupils attended, showing their strong affection for him. He was described in his nomination as supportive, as knowing how to deal with both college politics and local Cambridge politics, and an inspiration to many.
Coming from a state school and the first in her family to go to university, Michelle Still became EXU's second woman president in 1983, when the college had been mixed for less than half a decade. Her election confirmed that the student body was evolving in positive ways and helped normalise women holding office in colleges. She was an inadvertent pioneer.
They were both very worthy winners.
Oh, absolutely sounds like it. So congratulations to Alan and Michelle and all the nominees. So back to Vic in the studio.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Standing in front court there, it was such a special feeling walking in there, arriving yesterday, being welcomed by the porters as well. I feel like They know me so well over the time that I was at Emma, and there's such wonderful pastoral care that is like nowhere else in the world. I know they can't wait to welcome all of you back too as soon as possible. But in the meantime, what is wonderful about a virtual event is that you're able to join us from around the world. And right now, I'm joined by one of our audience members all the way from New Zealand, 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘢. Welcome, how are you? And who's this with you?
Hi everyone, good evening from New Zealand. This is Veronique. She's 6. Give us a smile. This is Jack. He's 8. And my wife, Catherine. They're staying up extra late on Saturday night to join you here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your Emma experience? What thoughts and memories and feelings does it conjure thinking back to it?
Well, you mentioned how it's just this magical feeling you have inside, and I think that's what I remember walking the first time through into front court past the porters who are always so warm, and just feeling like you belong. I think that's the key to Emmanuel, is the inclusivity and the diversity, and access is critical, as we'll talk about.
And your family have visited as well. You've been here. What did you make of it, guys?
Yes, we were lucky. We spent a night in 2 years ago in New Hall, or New Court. Did you like it, guys? Yeah. Yeah, we had a great time.
I'm glad to hear it. How does it feel to be joining the launch of Emma Enables from the other side of the world today?
Oh, it's thrilling to have the technology like this, to be able to be with you virtually. Oh, very thrilled and feel very privileged.
And you've just seen there the student support that we've been talking about. How important is that, having had this experience, having been here, having been a part of the community?
Yeah, of course, student access is the heart of everything that Emma Enables is about. Of course, developing the property is important, but unless you have the students from undergraduate to postdoc, it's just an empty shell. So I think that is really what it's all about.
Well, I can't thank you enough for joining us. And also, can we just mention your hats, your bunting, your bag in the background there. You've made created a fantastic set. So thank you very much. And it's just been lovely to chat to you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
See you. Thank you so much. We were so pleased that Mick and his family could join us. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the event. Student support, as we just mentioned, and access, it helps students near the start of their Emma journey. But the second part of Emma Enables, the Emma Experience programme, will support students in a very different way by preparing them for the next stage of their lives beyond Emma. Now, very shortly, you'll hear from Ellie, who we saw earlier in the campaign video. But first, another beautiful animation to illustrate what the Emma Experience programme is all about.
My name's Ellie Gower. I matriculated in 2011 and graduated in 2014 from Emma, and I studied philosophy. Since I graduated, initially I moved to Switzerland to work for an organisation called Gavi. It was set up by Bill Gates and Nelson Mandela, who together agreed that vaccines weren't working for the world's poorest populations. It clarified that I wanted to work on things that I thought mattered, but I wanted to at least start at smaller organisations. It led me to really hone in on social enterprise, the business I now work for. 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘢 is a business based in Ethiopia that supports small-scale producers to grow in a climate-resilient and diverse way, organically. When done well, that growing in and of itself can have a massive onward impact, environmentally and also in terms of livelihoods. Agriculture is too often pushed and squeezed to optimise purely for short-term profit. That's not brilliant when it comes to its impact on people, and it's not brilliant when it comes to its impact on the environment. 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘢, what we advocate for is instead a focus and turn to circular systems, which is all about seeking to put as much into the soil as we take from it, and that our time frames move from short-term extraction to long-term health. One of the things which I really care about is that I think it's amazing and wonderful that we all hold our local food systems to higher account than perhaps we did 20, 30 years ago. But what I would love to see happen is a similar celebration and also scrutiny applied to produce which comes from further afield. What the business sets out to do is to make the connection between better growing and better markets. And that's where I come in. So my job is basically to find a home for all of the amazing produce that the farms we work with grow. I really enjoyed my studies, and obviously they were a large part of what I spent my time doing at Emma. That love for my subject hadn't shone until I was in a place that, like Emma, provided me with the support and structure to pursue it. But I think that it really sticks with me that definitely the people I interacted with, fellow students, as well as the people teaching my subject, helped clarify the kind of things I wanted to prioritise and my values. I took part in quite a diversity of clubs and societies and committees, particularly fond memories of being women's officer. My time at Emma impressed on me the value of thinking big, and it also impressed on me the value of being intentional. That was a strong theme of the conversations that I had with both friends and the different staff members that I interacted with, getting people to think about what they cared about and where they wanted to go. While I was at Emma, it definitely crystallised for me that I wanted to get out there and solve practical, real-world problems. It's such a huge opportunity to catalyse young people's energy and interest in living in a world and contributing to a world that looks head-on at the ugly problems we're facing and does something about it. Whether that is in, food, whether it's in something entirely different. As we look ahead, it will be more and more important for educational institutions to provide the students with clarity and the ability to distill complicated, complex issues. A huge number of my friends from that time remain my friends and remain people that not only my friends with, but I really admire. I think that speaks to what is so special about Emma. Community, to me, is about the opposite of loneliness. You're in it together, and I think that is something which college and Emma was able to really cultivate. Community is really important for giving you the confidence to kind of springboard out and do what you want and care about.
It's so amazing to hear about the wonderful and varied things that Emma members go on to do after their time here. And fantastic as well that the new Emma Experience programme will do even more to equip the students of the future for the world beyond Emma. And our next Emma Award is on a very similar theme. Bobby went down to the Boathouse yesterday to meet the Boathouse manager, Pete Twitchett, and find out the winner of the Emma Innovation Awards.
Well, it's great to be here at the Boathouse, a place that holds special memories for generations of Emma rowers and people like me who cheered them on. The scene behind me, all the boats, is testament to the support of generous members of the boat club. And you can see the boats, they're really long. And I've come here to speak to the boat club manager, Pete. So let's go and have a chat with him. Hi, Pete. It's like an absolutely beautiful setting here, isn't it?
Yes, it is a very, very special place in college.
Really is. So you've been manager for the Boathouse for more than 12 years now. So you've got to know many of our members very well. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I'd like to welcome them back to the Boathouse and hope this place brings some very, very fond and happy memories back to them of being down here rowing and making lifelong friendships.
Absolutely, those friendships do count. So you've kindly agreed to announce the second Emma Award for Innovation. This award celebrates members who've shown a real innovative spirit during their time at Emma or beyond. So we're really excited. Go on, the magic envelope.
Right. And the winner of the Emma Innovation Award is Paul Fellows. Paul has been a major force in the high-tech scene in Cambridge and the world. He created the RISC OS, which is a popular choice for use on the Raspberry Pi. He pioneered Internet TV as CTO of Amino, and also the Internet of Things through his work at AlertMe, brought by Hive by British Gas. In his spare time, he also runs the Cambridge Astronomical Association and has led the public observing evenings at the university observatories.
Oh, massive congratulations to Paul, and lovely to see you again, Pete.
And you.
Okay, back to college.
Boathouse yesterday.
Very exciting.
It looked fun, I'm jealous. It was great. Now, we have reached the midpoint of today's event, so here's a sneak peek of what's coming up very soon. Very shortly, we'll be hearing from the bursar and the lead architect about the new buildings, and then we'll be taking a journey through deep time with Emma Fellow and author Robert Macfarlane. And finally, I'll be joined by the Master Fiona and Master-elect Doug for a one-off conversation between them both.
So we're just going to head behind the scenes now. Follow me and say hello to a few people who are keeping everything running smoothly today. So up some stairs, a mathematical gradient, probably 45 degrees. We're going to say firstly hello to the team running the show here, the magic behind the tech. Thank you, guys. Let's keep going through. And here we're going to say hello to Holly, Rebecca, and Sarah from the Development Office. Hello. Hi, hello. So you've been keeping an eye on all the stories coming in from members about how they came to Emma. So Holly, any favourites so far?
Definitely, yeah. Ellen's just sent in a really nice message. In the 1970s, she saw a picture of Emma's chapel in a booklet, fell in love with it, came to Emma, met her husband here, and then they got married in the chapel, which is such a lovely story.
Oh, that's lovely. Any Rebecca from you?
Yeah, we've had a really nice comment in from Francis about how his time at Emma has shaped his career, but we'd love to see some more, so do keep sending them in on the Q&A.
Yes, please keep sending them in. And now a warm welcome to a familiar face to many of you, Development Director Sarah Bendel.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, Bobby.
Hi there. So obviously for the official launch of Emma Enables is today, but a huge amount of work has taken place, mostly behind the scenes, to get to this point. Like, how does it feel to finally be here?
It's absolutely thrilling, and you know, it's wonderful to see all that we've been doing, and it's been such a privilege to be working on putting together such an event like this. To be honest, it's making me feel quite emotional. I hadn't quite expected that. I'm feeling a bit overcome by it all. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. The other great advantage of doing something virtual is that we can be inclusive, and you know, we can take Emma out into the world. It was absolutely fantastic to see Mick and Catherine and Jack and Veronique earlier. I mean, I remember their visit so well. And you'll have seen from the word cloud, we've got members from all over the world. The predominance of Cambridge, I think, is because we've got lots of fellows and staff watching, which is great. But it's lovely to know that we've got all our, for me to know that I've got all my friends out there. So hello, everybody.
And what are you most excited about when it comes to the future of our college?
I think it's because it's a holistic vision. So yes, we're creating wonderful new facilities and opportunities for people, but it's really what that means for the people, for Emma, for the future. So I think it's wonderful. We'll be strengthening our student support and outreach. I'm really excited about the Emma Experience programme, and it's going to be fantastic to have all these new postdocs coming to the college, which will really add to the buzz. And the Emma Hub will make it all possible, really, and I can just see us all going there and really enjoying it and meeting people. I think it's going to be amazing. And then the other really exciting thing about this is because it's so all-encompassing, you know, there are loads of opportunities for everybody to join in and to play a part in whatever way they want. So really, really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm
really excited, and it's great to see you as ever,
Well,
Sarah. And
lovely to see everybody.
And thank you to everyone behind the scenes for making today possible. And now for the important bit. Have you been keeping up with the duck counting? The duck counting, yes. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Keep them open for more ducks in the second half. And we're going to tell you how to submit your guesses very soon.
Thank you so much, Bobby. I'm looking out for the ducks everywhere. Now, from one innovative programme to another, in this next section, we'll be looking at the third area of Emma Enables, postdocs. Now, in this area, Emma really is leading the way. No other Cambridge college is currently doing what Emma is planning to do for postdocs. And that makes this extremely exciting. I'll see you in a moment after another animation when I'll be speaking to research fellow Dr Amy Orben about her research into the effects of social media and digital technology on the well-being of teenagers. Yeah, I think the key message there is the important role that postdocs play in the amazing research that goes on in the university and how colleges like Emma can play a huge part in advancing this. Well, I'm joined now virtually by one of Emmanuel's own researchers, Dr Amy Orben. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Where are you joining me from right now?
I'm actually joining you from home because I've had to self-isolate. So I'm actually halfway through my isolation today.
Getting there. You'll get there. It's 2021. This is what we do. But thank you so much for being with us. And this is the beauty of a virtual event, is that we can connect. You focus in your research on the effects of social media on well-being. Can you tell me a little bit about this? Is it all bad? Are there positives?
It's a really complicated question, and a question that, you know, not just scientists, but also policymakers, parents, the public have been asking themselves over the last 5 to 10 years with increasing digitalization. And I think the pandemic has made that even more prominent. And I think what we see here as kind of scientists is that the link is really dependent on how we use social media. Do we use it to actively connect with others or just to scroll through our timelines? and also who we are as a people. There might be some people who are more vulnerable to certain aspects, and that's especially what I'm focusing on at the moment in my research.
And how are you carrying out that research?
Yeah, so I actually studied natural sciences at Cambridge, and I'm really a programmer and a data scientist. So I work with data sets collected by the government and various research councils, and I analyze them with quite advanced statistical techniques to really understand what's going on, to then complement the work, for example, of other colleagues who do more interview-based or more experimental work.
A lot of number crunching, a lot of information, but such important work. I know from working with kids, with young people, both charity work, but also on my radio show, that we rely so much on social media, and so many young people are connected at a time when we're isolated, and that's important, but equally it's exacerbating a lot of their insecurities, their need to compare each other, to seek validation online from strangers. It's so important that you're doing this. What is it that you'd love to achieve from your research?
I think we really need to have a new way of doing research in the digital age, and we need to address digitalization head on. And so I really want to be able to create that research ecosystem, as well as focusing on my own research in terms of, for example, informing UK policy around technology regulation and education.
Well, Emma Enables, it plans to bring 100 postdoctoral researchers into the college community. How has being a member of Emmanuel helped you?
It's so important. As a postdoc, you are incredibly specialized, and we're often very overlooked. A lot of postdocs, most of them don't even have a college connection. And so you're specializing at a time where you have little connection or community. A lot of them move from very far away, and we have short-term contracts. And so being part of Emma doesn't only allow me to be part of a multidisciplinary community, which brings me new ideas over lunches or dinners, but also in terms of just being part of a community and feeling like you're part of something bigger in that time where you feel like you're really putting yourself into a tiny box and trying to do that well.
Well, it sounds like being part of an interdisciplinary community. It's enriching and innovating for your personal life as well as your research. So, I mean, it's just so important. Thank you so much, Amy, for everything that you're doing, and also for joining us today. It's been lovely to speak to you. Thank you. We certainly could have spoken, I think, for much longer. And if you would like to hear more from Amy, we've put a link to one of her talks in the Q&A box. I hope that's given you at home a sense of why supporting their research of early career academics is such an important ambition for Emma. But right now, over to Bobby for the final Emma Awards.
I've come to the Porters Lodge to see two of our wonderful porters, Monty and Paul. Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi, Monty, you okay?
Hi, man. How are you doing?
Really good. Shall we have a chat outside?
Absolutely. Good idea. We'll come out.
Looking very smart, fellas.
Hi, man. How you doing? All right?
Yeah. So, Monty, what's the past year been like in college?
Well, Bobby, it's let's say it's been challenging, to say the least. First lockdown was really hard. The college was empty. It was like a desert. But with support of the bursar, the senior tutor, the household, and everyone else has, put in for it, it's been fantastic. The loyalty that the porters have shown me over the last year, they've gone above and beyond. Harriet Carey, special shout out to her because she's been fantastic helping us, and she's now an honorary porter. The students have played their part, but I am so proud of my porters. They have been absolutely fantastic, and a good job well done, I think.
Thank you. Sounds like such a brilliant job you guys have done. And Paul, you're going to announce the winner of the Emma Inspiration Award. And this is to celebrate members who inspire others through their embodiment of the spirit of Emma, whether through community work or an act of kindness or friendship, sir.
Right, Bobby, so the winner is Janet Goff. Janet has become the leading expert in cathedrals and churches of England, giving talks and writing books on the subject, including for the Emmanuel Society. Janet's work and expertise has made a notable contribution towards both the care and knowledge of the architectural gems that churches and cathedrals in this country.
Congratulations, Janet.
Well done.
Absolutely, well deserved. And rather fortuitously, what a fabulous link that is to the next segment, which is all about new buildings. Vic, I'll be joining you soon, but in the meantime, back to you.
So good to see the porters there, and also shout out to Chewbacca wearing a mask in the background of Bobby's shot. Welcome to Emma. So from caring for ancient buildings to creating new ones, from everything we've heard so far about student support and access, the Emma Experience programme and postdocs, it is clear that people are at the heart of Emma Enables, but all of these programmes are only made possible by the new buildings, which many of you may know a little bit about already. Now, you might have seen some photos and videos of the work on the new site, and like me, you might have been particularly interested to keep tabs on the demolishment of our beloved, if a little quirky, college bar. Thank you so much to all of you who kindly sent in your photos of the bar recently. It's really lovely to see throughout the ages how we've all enjoyed it. But of course, we're all wondering what will take the place of the bar. What will the new bar be like? What are all the new buildings? Well, we're going to hear from the lead architect, Gavin, and the bursar, Mike, right now to find out.
First and foremost, the new development is really about people and about the community that exists at Emma and the way the spaces and buildings support that community.
We've been planning for the project for the best part of a decade, and we do see it as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to encourage the different parts of the Emma community to meet and to interact.
It's about interaction, sociability, and the life of the college and the way that supports the intellectual life here. The college has been here for over 400 years, and before that there was a priory, so we're very much aware of the new development as, if you like, another layer in this progressive transformation of the site, respecting the character of what's here and how that's evolved over time. We spent a lot of time understanding the character of the existing college spaces and the way they're interconnected. There's a unique sequence of informal and formal courts and gardens. So what we've been doing is really looking how the new scheme can knit into that existing network of spaces and routes that characterises the college at the moment. We're looking at the proportions of existing buildings, the materials, the touch and feel of what they're made of, the craftsmanship of the materials. The new development embraces the whole area from South Court through to Park Terrace and includes a new social hub, which is a cafe-type environment, a new college court at the heart of the development, which provides 50 new ensuite rooms for students and fellow accommodation. Then, on the Park Terrace frontage is Furnace Lodge, the 19th century villa. That has a new MCR, new teaching spaces and seminar spaces, and behind that will be the new college bar and event space, so new social facilities. Moving from Front Court through to Chapman's Gardens. The first thing you'll see is the new social hub, which sits in South Court in the location which used to be the college bar.
The hub will be a beautiful, light, open area space for people to do informal study or to have supervisions or to meet friends. We've never had a space where people can mix throughout the day. We've lacked that sort of flexible, non-hierarchical space, and particularly a space that postdocs and researchers can use, because they're part of the community we haven't been able to offer much to in the past.
The new social hub is going to be fully glazed to Chapman's Gardens and the new landscape in South Court. We're planting pleached plane trees, which create a canopy and a sense of quite intimate scale to that space, and there'll be a reflecting pool of water. We started work on site in November last year, so we've been on site now for about 6 months, and following the exam period this year, you'll see a lot more progress as the buildings move forward. The main residential part of the site is based around a new college court, and there are a series of 50 new ensuite rooms, with also new accessible rooms, which is very important for the college, and a new accessible fellows suite, and all of those are designed around staircases in the traditional way, with their own gyp rooms.
The front of Furness Lodge will provide a new MCR. It will be a more flexible space. It will give the graduate community new facilities. There will also be seminar rooms, there'll be supervision rooms, an XU office. Front of Furness Lodge will provide us with lots of things we desperately have needed for a long time.
And then behind Furness Lodge, in what was the service wing, we're providing a new college bar, which is actually going to be a very characterful space. It's a double-height space open to the roof, something of a barn-like volume, part of a series of social spaces that we're creating, which you could imagine a bit more like a sort of traditional pub that has a number of different rooms and bars with different characters. So we have a principal college bar, but we also have a separate lounge bar, and we're creating a large new event space.
Sustainability has been key throughout. We set that as an absolutely core target for the architects, and all of the engineers have worked on the project. It will be a very green development.
The approach here has been very much about reducing the energy that's used within the buildings, and that's by what we call a fabric-first approach. So actually they're very well insulated. We're using the mass of the building to help cool it, and we're thinking very much in the long term about buildings which are here to stay. It's part of the benefits of being somewhere like Emmanuel, where it's very much all about long-term thinking.
And I mean, a great example of that is the ground source heat pump that we're told has an expected life of 200 years. It's a transformational project. We're hoping that all of these buildings are going to be here and in use for a very long time, for very many generations, and that we're putting something in place now that the college community will value and use for, I hope, centuries.
Buildings are either constraining or they're enabling. And obviously in good architecture, what you're trying to do is to help individuals, communities, society to live more fulfilling lives. What we're trying to do is create places that delight and are engaging physically and intellectually, and are valued in the long term by the people who form this community.
I'm Robert McFarlane. I'm a fellow in English here at Emmanuel, and I'm also a writer. And for nearly 20 years now, I've been researching and writing around the subject of deep time. Deep time is the chronology of Earth history. It's measured in units that humble the human instant, eons and epochs instead of minutes and years. Deep time is kept by rock and stone, by ice, by seabed sediments and stalactites. I first became interested in this subject because I grew up as a mountain climber, and deep time is rarely laid more bare than when in mountains. But over the past decade, I've become increasingly fascinated by the ethical implications of deep time. For deep time stretches into the future as well as into the past. And to think deeply about the future is necessarily to consider the legacies we're leaving as individuals and as a species. One of the best questions I know was asked by Jonas Salk, the Nobel Prize-winning virologist who developed one of the first polio vaccines and made it available for free to the world. Salk's question, posed towards the end of his life, was this: are we being good ancestors? It's a question that first stops you, then searches you. Are we being good ancestors? For to be a good ancestor is quite different to being a good parent or grandparent. It means extending care to people you will never meet, decades, centuries, even millennia into the future. It is very hard to be a good ancestor, I think. We're not doing a good job of it as a species at present, as we lay down our future fossils and strata markers, radionuclides, plastic waste, mass deformation. To be a good ancestor means dreaming of the history of things to come. It means weighing what you will leave behind for epochs and communities that have not yet been imagined. There is, of course, a dangerous comfort to be drawn from deep time. An ethical lotus-eating beckons. What does our behaviour now matter when Homo sapiens will have disappeared from the earth in the blink of a geological eye? We should, though, resist such inertial thinking. Indeed, we should urge its opposite. Deep time as a radical perspective, provoking us to action, not to apathy, helping to develop the awareness that we all exist as part of a web of gift, inheritance and legacy, stretching over countless years past and countless to come. Walter Mildmay, Emmanuel's founder, was a good ancestor, what is sometimes also called a cathedral thinker. As you know, Emmanuel's first and keystone story, if it can be called that, was Mildmay's remark to Elizabeth I on the occasion of his founding of the college in 1584. I have set an acorn which, when it becomes an oak, God alone knows what will be the fruit thereof. I've always liked the idea of Emmanuel as an oak tree. Not only are oak trees long-lived and resilient, in fact our word robust comes from the scientific name for the oak tree, Quercus robur, they're also communities of astonishing diversity. A remarkable 2,300 species are associated with oak trees, including 38 birds, 716 lichen and 31 mammals, a higher number than any other species of tree. I have set an acorn which, when it becomes an oak, God alone knows what will be the fruit thereof. Mildmay's phrase, God alone knows, has always interested me. For it seems to me that a vital part of good ancestry is not knowing, is relinquishing control over the exact outcome of one's actions, but instead planting those acorns and trusting that they will grow through deeper time than one's own, flourishing first into trees and then forests that are thriving and irreplaceable communities of life.
Thriving and irreplaceable communities of life. I think Rob's words there really do sum up Emmanuel after all that we've seen today. And I'm joined now by two very special guests, our Master Dame Fiona Reynolds and Master-elect Doug Chalmers. In a moment, I have some questions that were sent in by you, our audience, in advance of today. But first, welcome. I'm just glad we could be together for this.
Yes, so we are.
No, really.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that we can connect with so many of our community around the world virtually. It is really special. How are you enjoying the show so far?
I'm loving it, but you know, I'm feeling pretty emotional too.
can
It's my last term, and watching all that it's incredible. But You know, I also feel incredibly proud, actually, of what we're setting up here. I don't see it as a legacy, I just see it as a whole string of opportunities for the future. I do feel very proud of that, yeah.
Well, Doug, welcome as well.
I think as I join, I think what we've just heard there really sort of, for me, sort of points towards the essence of what was almost the magical alchemy that clearly is Emma.
Yeah, well, it really is. I can tell you firsthand from my time here, it's a really special place. And yeah, you're going to have a great time. To put it simply, you're going to have a great time. It's so good to be joined for you for the first time. I think it might be a good idea to take a moment to introduce yourself to the Emma community.
Of course, Vic, of course, and thank you for sort of allowing me to sort of give it a little bit on that. So I was born in Belfast quite a long time ago now. I enlisted in the army just before my 19th birthday, and I've just finished what was a 37-year career in sort of doing the Director of Operations job in the middle of Whitehall over the last period of time. But about halfway through that service career, I had the good luck of doing a sabbatical, and I came here to Cambridge to study international relations. And I loved the ability to do research, the time to think, and also the interdisciplinary conversations used to happen in the MCR all the time. And my wife Helen and I also fell in love with the city. And those two experiences really brought us to apply and to me to here tonight.
Well, I also would like to congratulate you on your recent appointment as Companion of the Order of the Bath in the Queen's Birthday Honours 2021.
Thank you very much.
How does that feel?
It does. These things were always a mixture of sort of, yeah, they're quite humbling and they're almost a touch of embarrassment actually sometimes because you're being recognised. But this time it wasn't quite that way. It's because quite a few of my team that we sort of worked really hard to put the right defence stuff in support of the COVID response were recognised at the same time, which made it a real pleasure.
Yeah, oh, I'm glad to hear it. As I said, it's so special that we can be here together for this moment. I'd like to kick off with a really beautiful question that came in from our audience. And it is quite simply, what makes the Emma community so special, Fiona?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, for me, it's people and place. I mean, place, we've seen so much of this extraordinarily beautiful place with stories that span centuries, including the time before the college was established and all the kind of different atmospheres of different places within the college. But people have been absolutely at the heart of my time here. The fellows with their extraordinary intellectual breadth and individuality who are so fascinating to talk to all the time. The students from undergraduates through to postgraduates, and you've seen a glimpse of some of that too, who are just terrific. They work hard, they commit, they're extraordinary, and you know, in a tough year they've done really well.
Yeah.
The staff who've been absolutely fantastic this year. It's been such a challenge to keep everything going, and they've been absolutely brilliant. And then finally, our members, many of them out there today, and I've had the privilege of meeting, getting to know them over the years. And they really are still part of our community, and that's a wonderful thing. So we're kind of this wonderful international global community.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? I remember when I first arrived, I think the best way of putting it is I found my tribe, and your vibe attracts your tribe. And I met friends who are now the best friends in the world, who I've had for life, and who I think, like Ellie said in her video, I'm in awe of. They're doing incredible things for our world, for our planet, but they're also the warmest, most special people. And just walking through that front court, you get this feeling in your stomach. It's like this place is magic, and it's obviously it's so wrapped up in memories, but it means the world. So thanks for having us back. First impressions, Doug. What is so special about the Emma community?
Well, I think I've been able to join in quite a lot, and Fiona's allowed me to sort of sit in on much of stuff. So I've started to get sort of a feel of what I'm joining. And in fact, I was reading the Freshers Manual that's in publication now. We're suddenly realising I am a fresher, and I'm going to be sort of stepping up into this. But for me, I think it's been the sense of openness. I think everyone I've met so far, from the fellows that I've had the chance to sort of meet in one-on-one or over the sort of small bits of entertainment we've been able to do so far, to the students I've met passing in and out, to the porters in the lodge, to the ladies in the laundry. It's been the openness of all the people that's been really quite telling. But then there's the space, and to build on the place bits, you go through the formality of front court, and then you went into the wonderful sort of paddock, which suddenly opens up, and you get that feeling of space, which I think is wonderful. So openness for me.
What a beautiful place. Yes, openness on so many levels. And how amazing are the porters?
Yeah.
Doug, what are you most looking forward to as you join as master?
So I think very much is that sort of sense that eager anticipation that comes out of the stuff in the sort of the Freshers Manual, of joining this community, being part of it, joining the sense of belonging that will come into it, and hopefully adding my part of value to help the whole alchemy sort of run through. That's what I'm most looking forward to. So it's the people, I think, is the chance to. And of course, I have the luxury of living within this place, which I'm excited about as well. But I think that there is also a little bit, there's a tinge of nervousness in this as well, is the Latin graces and getting ready for those as we go forward. That's something I'm going to have to spend a bit of time over summer preparing for.
Have you been practicing?
Not yet, but I will be. So don't test me yet.
I was going to say, I'm not going to ask you for a rendition. I'm not going to put you on the spot. There are broadcasters who would.
I know.
But that's not what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Fiona, any advice for Doug?
Oh, read it, actually, until you feel very comfortable. Gosh, I read it for years, so, you know, don't be frightened by it. I love the fact that, Emma, we're not kind of overly strict about these things. We let people read it in whichever way they can. The scholars read it, and everybody's part and can do their own thing in their own way. So just read it for a while.
And Fiona, what will you miss the most?
Oh gosh, so much I'm going to miss. Of course I'm going to miss the people and the place, but I think for me it's also the kind of college rituals.
Yes.
You know, all the things that happen here, everything from the extraordinary events like 𝘌𝘮𝘮 and the great dinners and the great big talks and when everybody comes and we're sort of in celebratory mood, but also, you know, the quiet times and the sort of intimate times, you know, chapel on a Sunday evening and dinner afterwards. Going down to the boat club actually to cheer on the boats in the bumps and the races. Just the kind of sense of being part of this community, wandering around, the events and the members come back. There's so many things that happen over the rhythm of a year that I'll be tracking, I think, for a long time.
Yeah, we had a chat yesterday, and when you said the rhythm of the year, it really is. Your spring, summer, autumn, winter, they do. You have these little pointers, these little rituals that you feel signify, okay, we're at this stage now, we're at this stage now. And I think they kind of never leave you. So you can still come down to the boat club and you can still cheer on the team.
I will, and watch the sport and everything else. No, absolutely, I'll be there. Yeah.
That will never end. Well, we received a number of questions on some really important topics, such as climate change. But I've got one here that was phrased particularly nicely. It gives us a lot to think about. And it's this: what do you see as being the greatest challenge in the world and for the world in the immediate future? And what role do you see for Emmanuel College in responding to it? There's a lot in there, the greatest challenge for the world. I mean, we might need to break it down a little bit, but Fiona, what are your thoughts on that big question?
Well, you won't be surprised with my background that I do think that the climate crisis and the nature crisis are two of the biggest, in fact, the biggest challenges facing the world. And I think, you know, whereas maybe a couple of decades ago, people would have thought, oh, I'm interested in those areas, I might be ready to work in them. Actually, now we're all going to be needing to work on those things. So whether you're an engineer or whether you're reading classics or whatever you're doing, anything that you go into, I'm convinced, will all be looking at ways of providing a sustainable future for the planet. And actually one of the things that, you know, we will be doing at Emma is preparing people to be adaptable, resourceful, ready to face whatever challenges the world throws at them. And that's at the heart of the Emma Experience programme. And you've had a bit of a glimpse of that so far. But, you know, it's all about not telling people what to think or indeed how to think it, but how to be ready for the opportunities and the challenges that the world will inevitably throw at us all.
Yeah. Doug?
So in the time I've had to sort of get ready to take over from Fiona, she and I have taken quite a lot of time talking about this. And so I look at it from the geopolitics sort of angle, which builds on that. You know, the climate, the population growth, and then of course the emerging technologies. All of those, I think, are coming together at a pace which really will take a lot of careful thought to bring together. And I think that need for interdisciplinary thought, coupled with a genuine understanding of different cultures, different perceptions, are the only way I think we're going to truly be able to come up with connections that stick and sort of help us into the future. I think that is hard. That's a part of the magic that can happen here, is you get those interdisciplinary conversations, you can get those perceptions, you can get those understandings, that cultural part also brought in honesty, and it will stick with people forever. 10 years, 15 years from now, they'll know who to call if they have an itch they need to talk about.
Yeah, well, we're definitely at the forefront of that, and there couldn't be a better community of people who are capable of tackling those challenges. There is something I would like to ask about as well, because one of the challenges of the past year that's been brought to the forefront that I've been a huge part of. It's been a big thing that I've talked about with my family and my peers, is the fact that we're aware the world is not equal, or where there is not justice where there needs to be. How is Emma going to tackle that? Not everyone has the same advantages in life, and we want to make this place a fair place.
Well, I mean, you've already heard about how access and widening access is a big part of our Emma Enables programme. And I think it's really, really clear that in terms of bringing people the opportunity to come here from whatever background is still a big challenge. You know, we're getting better, but there's a long way to go. So I think that first step of making sure that, you know, people who arrive here come from every background, if they've got the skills and the capability to thrive here, they should be able to come. And when then they're here, clearly, and that's going to be your job to make that work at a college level.
No, it is. I mean, very much the access journey that we're on now, we've got a long way to go with it, but we're on that journey. I think the atmosphere within Emma to take us down that journey is very much present. But I think I'll have to sort of sustain and nurture that as we sort of go into the future. But once they're here, it's making sure that everybody's background, everybody's difference, everyone's experience, that whoever they are elsewhere, they gain some empathy for that position. So they leave here with a much better empathetic understanding of what is the WELL community.
Yeah, well, it is such a welcoming place once you get here, and we need to keep working to make sure that everyone who has the potential can come here and thrive. We've heard a lot about how Emma Enables works, but one very important question that has been asked and that needs to be asked is how much needs to be found to make all of this happen?
Now, that's a brilliant question. Thank you for that one. So, it's very clear. We now need $7.5 million to complete the fundraising for this project. Now, even a few weeks ago, I'd have said $8 million. So, we're doing really well and the money is coming in. But think back. The original cost of the project is £50 million. You've seen what an extraordinary thing we're going to do. It's complex, it's huge, it's about buildings, it's about people, it's about programmes. But we have already raised, we've had a £12 million contribution from the college, and we've already raised £30.5 million largely from our members, which is absolutely inspiring. So I think we're going to hear just a little bit about some of the people who've helped us.
I'm really thankful for my time at Emma. It was full of opportunities for trial and error, which in so many ways has shaped my life ever since. I'm glad to help others have their opportunity to learn and discover themselves in such an amazing setting. And I enjoy the feeling of continuing connection with the college that comes from providing support.
I have such fond memories of my time at Emma. I remember choosing Emma because it was known even then in the late 80s for being a diverse, accessible and inclusive college. I fully support Emma's current access and outreach initiatives, and I'm delighted to offer some financial support for them.
Emmanuel's ambition to accommodate every student is something I was very happy to support, and is creating new buildings and spaces that will no doubt define and enrich the experience of many generations of college members to come.
Emma Enables embodies everything that makes the college so special. I was delighted to be able to support this outstanding project with its vision for new student accommodation, excellent research facilities for postdocs, and of course what promises to be a magnificent new bar.
We have benefited greatly from our time and experience at Emmanuel.
Emma Enables will ensure many more people benefit to the fullest extent from the opportunities the college has to offer.
Emma enabled me to grow up, to make great friends, to embark on a rewarding career path. I'm pleased to be able to support the college now, because I believe that financial circumstances should never be the reason that people miss out on this amazing opportunity.
My time at Emma and Cambridge have had a profound influence on the person I am today, and the opportunities that I've since benefited from. So it is with great pride and pleasure that I'm able to give back.
The new accommodation will bring all second-year undergraduates back onto the main site and underscore just how important a shared sense of place is, academically, socially, and for well-being. So this is a real, once-in-a-generation opportunity to make a real and lasting difference to Emma's future.
I'm so convinced by the worth of the scheme that this year, 50 years since I went down, I'm making a major donation. And the payback for me will be the huge satisfaction of seeing our beloved college dramatically enhanced to the benefits of many, many future generations.
So you've heard their stories, now it's your opportunity to help us. With 7.5 million to go and 30.5 already raised, we can get there. This is a once-in-generation opportunity to transform the college in all the ways you've heard about today. And I would really love you to help us, please. Anything you give, whatever you feel comfortable with, will be incredibly welcome. So I hope very much that you've been inspired by what you've heard today and that you will help us make Emma Enables a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fiona. Now, while I ask you one final question, audience at home, if you've been counting the ducks throughout today's event, please decide on your guess for how many there've been and put it into the Q&A box right now. Or you can email your guess to launch@emma.cam.ac.uk. The answer will be revealed by Bobby very, very shortly. But Fiona, Doug, I've got one more question for you. And I just want to ask you, when you think of Emma, what one word comes to mind? Fiona?
Well, for me, it's beauty. Beauty of place, beauty of ideas, beauty of relationships. It's a beautiful word.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Doug?
Well, as someone who's just joining it, I would pick the word welcoming, because that's exactly how I feel that I've been embraced by the community.
I think mine would be nourishing. I felt so nourished. My mind, my body, my soul, my brain, my belly. The food's really good, really, really great. Bobby, what's your word before we find out about the ducks?
Yes, for me it's home.
Yeah.
As soon as I step through the college, see the porters, see the sort of the green, I feel like I'm back home where I need to be.
Mm-hmm. Should we talk ducks?
Yes, let's talk ducks. Let's talk ducks.
Who's been watching very, very carefully?
So if you sent in the right answer, you'll be in a chance of winning a prize. Throughout today's show, the number of ducks that have been hidden is actually, drum roll please, 30. 30.
Oh, 30?
30, a sandwich between two prime numbers as well, 29 and 39, 31 on either side. So well done to everyone who spotted them all.
I saw a rubber duck up there, which obviously I can see from where I'm standing now. And then there was one scene where there was about 5 ducks walking around. Now, someone has actually had to sit and count them.
They have. What a job, duck counter.
Well, congratulations if you got that right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I can't quite believe, but we've actually reached the end of today's event. It's been really incredible and an inspiring experience. And it's been amazing to have so many of you here joining us from all over the world. I think it's a special and rare moment where we can all come together like this to celebrate such an important new phase for the college.
Yeah, now before we bring the event to a close, please can you grab your drinks? Bobby, can you grab ours as we come together for a final toast? Oh, look at this.
There we go.
In the amber colours,
Okay.
thank you very much. I'll take that.
Okay.
We want to capture this moment if you can. So if you could take a photo, if you can, so we can see how you're celebrating, and then you can send your photos to us at the email address below the video player, or you could even tag the college on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
So everyone now, please raise your glasses.
We hope you'll join us in supporting Emma Enables and this special moment in Emma history. To Emmanuel.
To Emma.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. See you later. Cheers.
Cheers.